Today we're going to be diving in and answering some questions that we get asked all of the time. And to be honest, it really feels like the perfect time to do so because we're just about to approach our 10th anniversary here in Spain. Wow, 10 years.
I can't believe it.
It's
10
crazy,
years.
Just like that. So we're going to be jumping into today what we would do differently, do we have any regrets, and our biggest reflections. And also some very, very, very specific advice that we only give to our VIP clients when it comes to the things that you need to think about before you actually take that leap and invest in your dream property here on the Costa del Sol. So Warner, are you ready?
I'm ready.
So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Our 10 biggest lessons from life here over the past decade.
Only 10?
Oh my God, it's crazy. Wow, 10 years.
Yeah, it's been 10 fabulous years.
Yeah, it has been a blessing, but you know, we need to be honest with everybody. You will only get out of your move what you put into it. So today we're going to be talking around the positive things, but also some of the pitfalls that we fell into and that we see other people falling into. So it's really going to be full disclosure here today, guys, warts and all. So I hope you are here for it. So talk me through maybe lesson number 10. What do we see? What do we hear?
Okay, so a lot of people when they come to on holiday in Spain, they think, this is great. We're eating out every night. You know, the kids are enjoying themselves. They're meeting friends. You know, we could live here. They come for 2 weeks holiday. You know, they have the most amazing time because when the sun shines, everybody's happy. Everybody's on holiday. It's great. They're going to the swimming pools. It's fabulous. Living here is a little bit different from being on holiday.
Yeah, so living in Spain will feel different than holidaying here, 100%. So that's lesson number 10.
Number 10, yeah.
And I think something that I would say that you need to be very mindful of when you're moving over is that your first few weeks and months in Spain, that they don't start to feel like a holiday. I think that you need to do some work in advance before you relocate here or before you invest here to say, what is my life going to look like when I start to spend extended periods of time in my holiday home or in my new forever home? Because if you treat your new move like that 2-week annual holiday, to be totally frank, you're setting yourself up for failure. So my advice would be really take the time to visualize and connect with what you would like your new life to be. So putting some ground rules in regarding how often you're going to go out and eat, how often maybe you're going to go out and have a few glasses of wine and socialize. Are you going to join some fitness clubs? Are you going to join some community groups? Doing some intercambio groups is always a fantastic way to meet people and brush up your Spanish lingo. So think about in advance the things that you want to do before you spend extended times in Spain so that you don't fall into the traps of it being like a holiday. Because I hear all the time, people say to us when they relocate over or they buy their investment property here, God, Sandra, it's so much more expensive here than I realized. And I'm always going to say back, well, how often are you eating out? How often are you socializing? Because if you're behaving like you're on holiday, all of the time, it is going to become very expensive for you, and you're not going to see some of those cost savings that people do experience when they live here. So it's important that you don't fall into that trap and that you're very honest with yourself in advance of making the move so that you're clear on what your new life over here is going to look like. Right, Warner?
Yeah, absolutely. You really need to think about it. And if you're bringing over children, you know, it's so important that they get involved with different clubs and then you meet different parents, schools. If you're going to go the Spanish education, it's really important as well that you need to integrate with them and be part of the society. So that is, you know, a big step when you're moving to Spain is to tick those boxes.
Yeah, and if you're going to live here permanently and it's a permanent move, you know, exactly what Warner said. It's very much about what's your integration plan. But if you're coming maybe 4 or 5 times a year to enjoy your investment property in the sun, you might be comfortable with eating out a bit more and having more of a holiday lifestyle. But it's really about you just taking the time to sit down and really be honest with yourself and what that new life looks like. So just lesson number 10, living in Spain is very different to holidaying here. And you need to take some time to really figure out what your new life is going to look like when your feet hit the ground. And another thing, I'm just going to tell you this now from personal experience, people will come over to see you, and that's fantastic because they want to see you and they want to have some holidays over here. But they're on their 2-week holiday that they've been saving all year for. So they're going to eat out every night, and that's totally fine because they're on holidays, but they will expect you to go with them. And it's important that you kind of look at your own budget and your own finances so that you're not on everyone else's holiday, because it'll end up costing you an absolute fortune. And that's just a little bit of word to the wise. Just be very clear about setting boundaries when people come over. If they're here for 2 weeks, you'll have a couple of nights out with them, but it's not always feasible to be on holiday with them because you're living here and you'll have to get up for work in the morning and you'll have to build your routine around visitors and guests. And that can be a little bit of a challenge. So it's important to have some strong boundaries when it comes to guests and visitors.
Yeah. So let's go to number 9.
Yeah.
Area first before the property.
Right. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Let's look at if you're relocating to the Costa del Sol. You may have spent a couple of weeks in Torremolinos, a couple of weeks in Benalmádena, a couple of weeks in Estepona. You know, what area is good for you?
Okay.
So they have to look at the areas and, you know, what they need if they're coming as a couple. As a retired couple, they need to look at transport issues. If they're coming as a family, they need to look at schools in the area. So there's a lot to be thinking about.
But also area. Okay, you named a few different towns along the coast. But if we take Benalmádena as an example, Benalmádena has 3 distinct areas. So it has coastal living, which is Benalmádena Costa. It has traditional living, which is in Benalmádena Pueblo, but it also has normal life, which is Arroyo de la Miel, where you get your train stations, you get your banks, you get your local town.
Yeah.
So I guess when you're talking about area, it's also important when you identify the town, what type of life you want to have within that town. Because if you want to be on the coast, you know, you need to think about that in advance and look at what that type of lifestyle is going to look like once you get here, right?
Absolutely. So some people have a dream, I want to be in the countryside, you know, and they move to the countryside and then they say, oh, it's a bit isolated.
Yeah, it's only me and the goat.
It's a bit isolated. So the dream that they had, the countryside, waking up in the countryside, kind of fades away because, you know, the public transport might not be there.
We actually saw a bit of a trend on that over the last few years where people that had been living here for many years felt that things were getting a little bit busy for them and they wanted to experience more of a remote life and relocated into the countryside. And actually, last week when our house was being painted, the painter was saying the same thing to us, that he did that and he was tired of waking up with just him and the goats. And you do need to be careful of that because that might sound beautiful, but if you're moving over or you're relocating or investing for a holiday home and you want that remote lifestyle, you mightn't have a pub or a restaurant nearby. There mightn't be local shops. People in the locality may not speak English and you may start to feel quite isolated, as well as distance from the airport because you may be quite removed from public transport. So it is important to balance that. And another thing that I see actually happening to people when we talk to clients that are just about to make their move is they want the rustic dream, they want the olive trees, they want to be in the finca and the countryside, they want to be surrounded by traditional Spanish life. Like, oh, my house is beautiful. It's, you know, I've seen a property online. This is the house that I want. It's very rustic. It's got a beautiful kitchen. But to be totally frank, you know, the interior of the house isn't going to matter when you're not happy with your location. So it is area location first, then property and aesthetic second. An important thing to call out, because property portals, when people are viewing online, they go, oh, the house looks beautiful, I'd have nothing to do to it.
Yeah, but you've not seen
the wrong
road.
Order.
You've not seen the road to drive up to.
It's the wrong order. You need to get your ducks in the right row. So yeah, spending time to really think about your area, what you want from your life here, and then we will work the area around what your needs and wants are.
And then lesson number 8, my favourite, paperwork.
Do you know, I'm going to tell you
in 2016 when we came here, we never had any of the experts, so we had to do it all ourselves.
we went at it alone, but I would say things have evolved a lot since 2016, and there's a lot of experts and relocation specialists as well as support groups online that can help people, particularly if they're coming with kids and there's extra paperwork required for schools admin, hobbies admin, and you don't have the language. You may make your life very difficult. You don't need to make things so difficult now.
And Spain has come into the digital world now, which is great. So it's not like you have to take a photocopy of every document. You've got so many documents. They say, oh, you need 3 copies of that document. So,
and you can do most things through applications on your phone now as well. So once you've been shown how for the first time, you'll be able to run quite independently from there out. But don't do what Warner does. Warner has, on many occasions, fallen into the trap of living up to the reputation that Spain has around bureaucracy. So many people will have heard that Spain doesn't get the best reputation when it comes to bureaucracy. They talk about, there's hundreds of memes online, the mañana attitude. And then when Warner's going to appointments in like local authority offices or in the town hall because he has to renew something, he goes in like full of anxiety. So it doesn't matter whether the appointment has gone perfect or we have the nicest person serving us. He's irate because he has made this assumption in his mind that things are going to go wrong. They actually don't. If you're prepared, you know what to expect, you come prepared, your appointment will go perfect. So I think sometimes Spain can get a bad reputation. It has evolved a lot over the years. Bureaucracy is not as difficult now as it used to be when we relocated in 2016. And you don't need to go at it alone. You can hire an expert that will guide you through the process and support you for, you know, quite an affordable fee.
My recommendation is hire the experts. You don't want to do it alone. But if you feel brave, then on you go.
Okay, so lesson number 7.
Community matters more than square meters.
What does that mean?
So basically, you have to get involved with the communities. Whatever language you speak, the Costa del Sol is a melting pot, cosmopolitan melting pot. So there will be groups that will be good for you. So it's really important that you, if you don't speak Spanish, then the local governments, local councils, they have learning Spanish for foreigners, which will be the same people as yourself. You could also do private groups, and there's a lot going on. And then if you're into sports, there's sports clubs and the outdoor lifestyle. So there is a lot of communities there, and I would recommend, for if you have children as well, you've got golf, football, I would recommend that you look at them straight away before you arrive here and introduce yourself.
Totally agree with you. And something that we always tell people, particularly if you're coming alone, before that you land and before you do your permanent move or your temporary move, actually spend some time to seek out what groups are in your community. So whether it be a language group, a walking group, a fitness club, a group specifically for foreigners, Costa Women, if you're a woman traveling on your own. There is lots of things to do. There's also groups of parents that are newly in the area that meet up with their kids so their kids can start to form a connection. And if you do have children, once you get your address in Spain, get registered at the town hall and get your kids enrolled in some of the local sports clubs where they will be able to do whatever activity takes their fancy. It's going to be great for your child. It's going to be great for you. You're going to meet other people in the same position, and you can start to form out your crew over here, and familiarity will start to build. So the advice would be start to do some legwork on that, some groundwork before you come over, so that you can even reach out before you get to Spain and start to make some connections online, so that when you get here, it doesn't feel so daunting because you'll be busy. But yeah, I agree with you on that. Finding a community really matters. And that's another thing. When it comes to the area and the location, the more remote you are, the harder it is going to be to find community. If that's something that's important to you and you want to make friends and build a life over here, you need to think about that in terms of what does your area and neighborhood offer to you as a expat foreigner moving to a new location or spending increased amounts of time in a new location.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then number 6, don't try to do the property search on your own. You know, we've had a lot of people work with us, and then when they come to Spain, they go out into the pubs, and then, you know, they find out, yeah, we can do this on our own. And I've had so many horror stories, you know, where they've been working with myself, I've been guiding them, holding their hands, showing them the ropes, and then all of a sudden we don't hear from them. And I've seen so many horror stories where they contact me, might be 3, might be 6, you know, a year down the line, and they come back to me and say, I'm really sorry, I should have listened to you. So, you know, I've been doing real estate in the Costa del Sol for a long, long time. I live in Benalmádena, and I have the experience to guide you so that, you know, I can make this transaction very simple. If you do it alone, you might be able to do it, but 9 times out of 10, there will always be something there that you really need expertise on to find a property for rent or for sale. So don't do it alone.
Yeah, and it's important that it might look easy from the outside, but the market here on the ground is not regulated. Regulation is coming, but it's not regulated right now. And if you don't have the right support, professional support, there is traps and pitfalls that you will fall into, and we have seen it happen time and time again. So don't think that you know better than the experts when you're here 5 minutes, because it's not the case.
And property portals are never, because it's a fast moving market, they're never updated. So you could go on to, you know, one of the property portals and make 10 inquiries, and 8 people won't come back to you. The reason they won't come back to you is probably that property is already sold. So it's really important that you trust an agent to take care of that part, because the agent will guide you. Because relocating to a different country is hard enough. You don't want to make a mistake, because that could be very costly.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And as well as, if you're not on the ground, then you need to use an agent, because you need somebody here representing you and acting in your best interests, supporting you to find your property. And I think use the agent, but also you need a lawyer. Like, lots of people will tell you, you don't need a lawyer. Lots of Spanish people don't use a lawyer, but Spanish people have the language and they're native to the country and they understand the systems and the way things work. You don't. You are not from Spain. You maybe don't have the language, or a very basic level of the language. So it's very important that you find a trusted legal partner who can support your best interests, because they're going to make sure that you are fully protected and make sure that there's no hidden traps or things that you don't see that could cause you a lot of headache and expense further down the line. So that's super important.
Absolutely. And lesson number 5, predominantly Spain is a lot cheaper in different places around Europe. But as we said the first time, it can be costly, especially if you're a family of 4 going out. Oh, the sun's out, let's go have a meal, let's go and do different things. So budget for the whole cost of life in Spain.
Yeah.
There will be things that are cheaper in Spain than your home country. But I think what you done was you kind of mapped out the cost it was in Ireland and how you mapped out how much it was Spain and looked at the differences from that and looked at it and just, you're a planner. So you planned it around it. We weren't kind of going that holiday route. This is our life here and we need to make sure that we're not spending more than we earn.
Spending beyond your means.
Spending beyond your means, yeah.
So I have a few things that I'd like to say on this. So your point there, so that was lesson number 5, and it's all around
budget for the whole cost of life in Spain.
Yeah, okay. So there is absolutely many things in Spain that will be cheaper than the country that you're coming from. Specifically, if you're coming from UK, Ireland, Northern Europe, absolutely. Utility costs will be cheaper. Your electric will be cheaper. Your water will be cheaper. Your internet costs will be cheaper. Your phone costs will be cheaper.
Childcare.
Your supermarket shop will be cheaper. Childcare costs will work out more affordable for you. Hobbies, extracurricular activities, if you're traveling with kids, they will work out more affordable for you. But there are some things that won't. So if you're coming to the Costa del Sol, it's very likely that if you're going to rent initially, that your rental costs will probably be on par or even more expensive than your home country because of the lack of housing in Spain. So we have a supply and a demand issue when it comes to rental costs. So when we first moved over and we sat down and did our budget, we were coming from Ireland where we had a mortgage. Our rental costs were higher than our mortgage. But the saving that we made on childcare was so significant. We increased our monthly income by about 34% because of the saving that we were having on childcare. So you have to look at it holistically. You cannot just look at one area of your life. Now, in addition to that, when it comes to the type of life that you want to have in Spain, so we knew that we wanted to have a very outdoor life with our kids. We were coming from Ireland where it was pissing rain every weekend. So when we needed to keep our kids entertained and away from screens, we were probably going to a soft play area or something that cost a fortune. So that also had to be built into our Irish budget. But when we came here and that big yellow beauty is shining in the sky, packing up a picnic and going to the beach is free. So again, you need to look at it holistically. So don't be hoodwinked by one area being cheaper or one area being more expensive. You need to really sit down and evaluate all areas and see what's going to work out cheaper, what's going to work out more expensive. Renting at the start is a great idea if you don't know where you want to be. That's what we did at the beginning because we were really not sure about we knew we wanted to be in Benalmádena, but we didn't know what area or neighbourhood that we wanted to be in. So we rented at the start to figure that out. And that's still the neighbourhood and area where we have chosen to base ourselves today because it's right for us and it offers everything for us as a couple and for our kids and for us collectively as a family. But if you know the area and you're in a position to buy straight away, buy. Because rental costs here are expensive. You're in a tourist resort, we have a supply and demand issue, and it could work out as a costly exercise for you. So I think if you're in a position to buy and you know what you want, buy. But
yeah, I think it comes down to if you can afford it and you like it, buy it.
Yeah.
Because I don't see the prices going down anytime soon.
Yeah. So there's school of thought for both. Renting is great if you want to test, if you want to try. But renting is one of the costs that is not going to necessarily be cheaper than your home country, and you need to take that into your overall equation for your budget.
Yeah, absolutely. Lesson number 4, accept that the homesickness will come and go.
Yeah, it will. So it's very likely at the start that if you're relocating permanently, this is very much if you're relocating permanently or if you're testing to move here permanently. If you are doing that, at the start you're going to be very busy because you're going to be project planning, you're going to be relocating yourself, organising for your belongings to come over. You're going to have a full project plan. You're going to be moving into your new residence in Spain. You're going to be setting up your internet, setting up your utilities. You're going to be busy. You're going to be meeting new people. And most people tend to make those decisions to relocate over here when the weather's good, which is natural. But things are going to settle down and you're going to get into the mundaneness of your new life. And winter's going to hit. And despite the Costa del Sol having sunshine for 300 days a year, there is periods where the sun isn't in the sky, or it is raining and it isn't sunny. And homesickness can sit in, and it's important to accept that. And it's important to have a strategy around what you're going to do when you do that. There's many schools of thought for this. Some people say, get on a plane, go back home, it'll show you what you're missing and you'll come back. I don't know if I agree with this. Personally, when we first came over, we didn't go back to Ireland for the first year because we didn't want any interference in our planning.
We were all in.
We were all in. So it was, no, we're not going back for the first year. We are completely committed to our new life in Spain. And that means head to the ground, integrate, make our jobs a success, form out our new careers, get our kids settled. That was it. We were completely laser focused. And we personally felt that going back and forth would just create noise, and we didn't want any distractions. However, sometimes people do go back and forth. And if that's the right thing for you, that's absolutely fine. But my point is, you need to have a strategy around when homesickness does happen, how you're going to tackle it. So whether that's that you get people to come and visit you and you can show them around your new location, or you're going to go back there, or you're going to really, really throw yourself into your integration, establishing yourself in the community, it's absolutely fine. But know yourself, know what will work for you, and have a plan of what you're going to do, because homesickness is going to happen. It's a completely natural part of your move. Faraway hills are always greener, and you're going to see your family online and friends doing things that you're not able to get to, and you'll start to feel sad about that. So it's important to be aware that when homesickness does come, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the move that you've made. It's just a natural part of the process.
And we've heard people moving to Australia or moving to New Zealand or everything, especially a lot this year.
Yeah.
They're starting to look at that situation where that is just too far away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they want the sun, but they don't want where they came from. So
totally.
They know, like, you're only 2.5 hours away. If there's any emergencies or anything like that, you can be back there in 2.5 hours.
It's almost like they're nearshoring. So we're working with some families at the moment, and they are Irish families, and they're in Australia, because if you are in Ireland, a lot of Irish people do go to Australia to work, okay? But they get to a period of their life where they've made their money in Australia and they're going, my goodness, my family are getting older, my dependents are getting older, I need to make a decision so I'm closer to home to support my family. But I don't want to give up the lifestyle that I have in Australia, which is that outdoors lifestyle. And Spain is becoming a great middle ground for that, because as Warner says, you're 2.5 hours away from most locations by flight. So you can get home easily in the event of an emergency or a situation where you do need to be more readily available for those people that are waiting for you at home. And I think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
And I love that we're seeing that.
Yeah.
So it's like a new wave is occurring. The nearshoring wave is starting to evolve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
No, it's very interesting. Lesson 3, the lingo. Learn enough Spanish to function. Duolingo. So we have a lot of people that before they come to relocating to Spain, they're on Duolingo and they're learning that, which is so important, because not all Spanish will speak English. Most of them will. But when you're dealing with like broadband providers, technicians, different things like that, you need to have the basics. Otherwise, you're going to be going round in circles. So it's really important that one of yous takes the bull by the horns and learns a bit of Spanish, so that when you do come here, you can get by. And if you have a family and the children start to go to school, then they'll take over for you. But and tell you that your Spanish isn't any good.
Mom, your Spanish is terrible.
But one of you need to have the language. It's so important. And as I said to you, there is groups over here where you can go in the morning, or you can have a private tutor online or something like that. So they really have to push the boat out and say, Warner, you learn Spanish, which I could speak Spanish anyway when I came here, so it was a bonus.
Yeah, and look, I think it's important that the point that Warner's making, that's good advice whether you're relocating or you're purchasing for investment here. Because whether you're relocating or purchasing for investment, if you're purchasing for investment, you're still going to have to engage with the local authorities, be it to set up your electricity or to get certain documentation into your name. And look, the likelihood is that most people that you will engage with will have an element of English and you'll be able to navigate through. But if you have a little bit of Spanish, it goes a long way to be able to start the conversation at least in Spanish, and then you can go through it in Spanglish and get there in the end.
Yeah.
Lots of people do use Duolingo, but I'm not a major... Duolingo's great, right, as our language apps, but often on Duolingo you're getting more South American Spanish, so there is differences. I think it's important to be mindful of that as well.
Yeah, no, there is. But as I said to you, there is expert translators that you can take to the town hall, or you can
or
pay
a friend.
by hour.
You will find that people want people to succeed here. So if you're putting yourself out there, you'll make friends quickly. The likelihood is some of your friends will have Spanish and they'll be able to help you. And people are always willing to go to an appointment with somebody and support them in those early days.
Yeah. Lesson number 2, be very clear why you're coming to Spain. This is so important, because if you're just coming because you had a good time 5 years ago in Torremolinos and you want to come here, then probably it's not going to work out for you. So you have to have clear directions why you want to relocate your family or you want to relocate. It's really important, because if you don't have this and when you arrive here and you've not planned for it, then you're going to kind of have a rocky road for a while until you kind of get your head back in the game.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, if you're relocating here or you're buying here to, I guess, escape something at home or a problem, if there's a problem in a relationship and you feel like, oh, let's spend a few months in Spain to fix it, or we always wanted to buy a holiday home in Spain, that's not the answer. You really need to be clear on your why, because investing in a new country or relocating in a new country is stressful and it will cause problems in a relationship and challenges in communication. So if this is an escape route for you to avoid something that's going on in your life, that's not the answer. Deal with the challenge first and then reevaluate if you still want to follow that dream. Okay, I think you need to have a solid foundation first. But for us, it was very, very about the life that we wanted to have for our family. We wanted our kids to grow up in a multicultural environment, a safe environment. We wanted them to have languages and we wanted them to have an outdoor lifestyle. And Spain offers that in abundance. And I feel even more grateful for... Stop! I feel even more grateful now for the life that Spain has afforded us when I witness what's happening in this unpredictable and crazy world. I think right now in Spain, it's a safe haven. It's recognized throughout Europe and the world as a safe haven. And I have felt even prouder of the fact that we made the decision to relocate to Spain 10 years ago, when I've seen the leadership coming from Spain recently, standing up to negativity throughout the world. And I'm seeing that many other people that we're engaging with at the moment, they have that same concern. They want predictability where possible. Is predictability possible in this crazy world that we're living in right now? I don't know. But they want safety. They want safety for themselves and safety for their families. And as human beings, we want to feel secure. It's one of our basic needs. We want connection. And Spain gives you that. And for me, I'll never regret our decision. And lately, as we come up to 10 years and I reflect on this crazy existence that we're all facing, I feel even prouder that we made the decision when we did.
Yeah, and Spain has great culture and heritage, and it doesn't deflect between what nationality or what religion you are. They want to celebrate that, and they will celebrate that on the streets, and it's fabulous when they do that, because they're loving people and they love their culture, and they love different nationalities and foreigners. Like you say, foreigners go home, but we've never experienced that. We've always experienced them wanting to be part and warmth. And from the 10 years, Spain has been absolutely amazing to us.
I will never ever regret our decision, you know, and all I can say is Viva España, because Spain is incredible and the best place, in my opinion, to live.
Absolutely. And that comes to lesson number 1. Would you do it all again?
Yes.
A million % yes. For the lifestyle it's gave us and our children, for the culture, for the people that we've met in that journey. Absolutely. It's just an amazing place, and the place that we call home.
It is, and it has really made me appreciate the small things in life. You know, the walk in the morning outside, the ability to chill after a meal and you're not being rushed away from your table. You know, family gatherings and gatherings with friends at the weekends, connection. It is the polar opposite from the go, 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 rush, rush, rush. You get a chance to sit and embrace life. And our children are so privileged to grow up here. So I would do it all again in a heartbeat. I'm so grateful.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it.
That's us.
Bit of a reflective one there as we continue on to our 10th year in Spain. Wow. So if you're watching and listening at home and you're thinking about a life in Spain or a life on the Costa del Sol, if it's firmly fixed on your vision board for 2026 or beyond, head over to our website, www.wlcostaproperties.net, and go to the resources section there. You can start to explore our resources, which will firmly put you in the right direction and help you take your next step as you embark and start to explore what life on the Costa del Sol could look like for you. Now, if you've liked this episode, remember to like and subscribe, because it helps us to keep bringing you more fantastic content. And that's it from us for today. Thank you for stopping by and thank you for listening. And we'll see you on the next episode.
See you on the next one. Bye-bye.